Hey everyone, welcome back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim.
And I am Black, aka the Raging Bull X.
And I'm Chris. How you doing?
All right, all right. And we are back for our next episode. Today's topic is good. I didn't realize that there was a couple of games that didn't get sequels that I loved, but then again, I'm looking at some of these that I've wanted to play and I didn't play, but have you ever loved a game so much and you just like, "Oh, man, I can't wait till the next one comes out," and then nothing, crickets from their developer? So, that's what we wanna talk about. We wanted to ask, where's the sequel? And this topic was so good because, like I said on the last episode, Black came up with this topic today, and I was like, "Dude, yeah." And as soon as he said that, I started, like, hacking away at it and trying to find other games and stuff like that and figuring it out. So, Black, tell me what actually made you came up with this topic because this is so good. It was a really good topic. I didn't even realize that there were a couple of games. There was a lot of games that I haven't played, but one of the games that I have played, that a game I'm gonna talk about today, I didn't realize that game did not have a sequel, or I didn't know that game was supposed to have a sequel, what I'm about to talk about. So, yeah, what gave you this idea? Like, were you playing the game and you was just like, "Man, this is so good. I wanna see more."
Actually, our last episode that
Mhm.
kind of gave me an idea because we were talking about cancellation
Correct.
of shows,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, to be honest with you, what about games that you really like, but never got a sequel, and
Mhm.
that you thought should have had a sequel, and I know it had enough of a culture following that had a sequel, but it just never got one, and that was
Mm.
always curious to me. So I was like, why not? Why not throw it out there and see what Slim and seeing thinks of it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And again, like I said, that was such a good idea because for real, man, it's quite a few. So
Mhm.
we're gonna go ahead and jump on into that to where's the sequel. So, it's quite a few different ones, but again, for me, I haven't played a lot of these, but I've heard of some of these, and when you think about it, you're like, "You're right. Why did this?" I have heard so many people talk about this game, and people ask me if I'm playing this game, like, prime example, Bully. Do y'all remember the game Bully?
Yeah,
Mhm.
matter of
Yeah.
fact, that was one of the ones I was gonna bring up. I'm glad you brought
So, yeah, and it deserved more. It had a cult following, it had a unique tone, and it basically was GTA in a schoolyard, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So there was rumors that Bully 2 was coming out for so many years, but they was never confirmed. And then Rockstar, I guess they found their niche and they got stuck. They got stuck on GTA and Red Dead, which is so funny because they're really stuck extra hard on GTA. The fact that GTA 6 keeps getting pushed back. So, but anyway, I'm not gonna go in on Rockstar right now. I'll leave that rant for Black when the Raging Bull X podcast coming soon to podcast near you. But seriously, that Bully actually should have, but from so many people I've heard talk about it so much, Bully should have gotten another one. Another one, The Order, 1886. That was on PS4. Sleeping Dogs. Didn't y'all play Sleeping Dogs?
Mhm.
Yes.
You have?
Matter of fact, I'm stuck on a fight in Sleeping Dogs. I'm still playing Sleeping Dogs.
Haha, nice. And actually, the game I'm about to talk about, I'm gonna tell you, I basically did the same thing. I was stuck on a fight, and I put that game down for so long. It had to been at least a year or 2 before I got back on it. So,
Mm.
um, Alan Wake, that was another one. Um,
Well, they
you
actually
know
came out with part 2
Yeah,
to Alan Wake.
Oh, yeah, you know
yeah,
what? And actually, there was something in here that said, Alan Wake did get a sequel. I forgot. I don't know why I didn't cross
matter,
that out.
yeah. Matter of fact,
So,
Alan Wake 2 just matter of fact, it's on the list of the ones I was looking at. But yeah, Alan Wake 2 did recently get a sequel.
yeah. Right,
Plus, it
correct.
had the side stories anyway. It had like the Americans, yeah, the Alan Wake like American something. I forget the name of the title of it, but yeah,
Mhm.
I have
but
yet
this
to
had
play
the
Yeah.
Alan
side
Wake. I
story.
heard it was awesome.
I started playing it. It was I was liking it, but and I've been meaning to go back to it recently because I kind of want to get back into that universe because it's in the same universe with Control
Mhm.
and whatnot. And I've
Yes,
been wondering whether I should
Control,
play that first.
bro.
And then they said that was kind of the sequel to Alan Wake was actually Control was the sequel.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So they said
Yeah,
that that
they're all
was
set in
actually
the same
a
universe.
spiritual sequel is how they say it.
And they've got a multiplayer game coming out soon that is also set in the same universe.
Right, right. So, LA Noir, did any of y'all play
Mhm.
that?
What was the name?
I touched on it, but I never actually played it much.
Okay.
It's
What
got
was
Okay.
a
the name,
Rockstar
Slim?
theme going on here.
LA Noir.
No. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
I can tell
Rockstar.
you why they probably didn't come out with a sequel for Bully, because
Mhm.
because of what was going on at schools and stuff like that.
The cra
I'm thinking that's why they did.
Well, it was, yeah, it was controversial, but the funny thing is the controversy behind Bully was always out blown out of proportion because it was like
Mhm.
Bully was nothing about it had nothing to do with anything that they were actually that the controversy was going on about it because it wasn't
Right.
really about the character being a bully. It was
But it
kind of
was in
weird.
that time when they really were like just starting to go over and cut out bullying, because
Mhm.
like now that's when the anti-bullying stuff started. So it just came out at the wrong time, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, they're actually Sleeping Dogs for Sleeping Dogs. They actually have a spiritual successor was actually Yakuza. So that was interesting. And there's a couple other ones. They said Sunset Overdrive, Spider-Man, it was the same developer or whatever.
Yeah, and they
But
use the same engine, matter of fact, to
yeah,
make the game, the
yeah.
Spider-Man
So
game.
some of these are all sequels, but there's certain things that you're like there's a game that you love so much that you're just like, man, I can't believe it. So you replay it. You do have the sequels, whatever. But let's start with Black this time. Black, you're on the left, so let's start with you. What's the game that you love and you was like, man, this game should have had a sequel? Just give me one game that you really truly loved that should have had a sequel.
I'm going to go with Anthem. And if you've ever played, Anthem was what I would consider direct competition with Destiny. And Destiny, it was multiplayer. Everybody knows that. Anthem to me, it was third person all the time. You didn't have first and third, and there were different classes of the mechs that you got in. You had the Ranger, you had the I forgot all the actual classes, but you had the Ranger was my favorite. And it was just it had so much potential. There was one you can actually fly in that game in the mech. There was one part of that game where you're on this planet, um, and you're fighting against the Dominion. And there was one part in the game where I'm flying and I actually could just go into the ocean, into the water, and come back out. And it was to me, it was so revolutionary. And I was like, there's no way they leave this game high and dry. But at the time, Destiny, you had Destiny. I mean, you got Call of Duty. It was so with these online games, there's so much competition. And I felt
Hmm.
like that's what happened to Anthem. Like it didn't get enough. When I was playing it, I had people coming over asking me, "What is that you playing?" I said, "That's Anthem. You never heard of it?" And he says, "No, that looks sick." I said, "Yeah." And I had heard rumors that the game wasn't doing as well as it should have. And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Please don't give up on this game, EA. Please don't." But it's EA I'm talking about. Please don't give
Yeah.
up on
Yeah.
this game, EA. You know. So yes, I'm going to admit EA has pissed me off more than one time. First it was Mass Effect Freeze, and then now you want to cancel one of my favorite games. Okay, got you, EA. If EA was a guy standing right in front of me, I'd probably slap him.
or they've done some dirty stuff. I mean, and I think I wonder if that's the worst developer or not. Like, there's a couple of video game developers that have done some jacked up stuff, and they
They're
really, but
really
it's
close. They're really close, buddy. They're really close.
yeah,
I ain't gonna lie.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Chris, have you played Anthem? I don't think I've played Anthem. No, matter of fact, I'm almost
No,
positive I haven't played it.
there was so much negative stuff going on behind Anthem, and I kept waiting for them to fix it, and then they promised that they were going to fix the things that were supposed to be, and they never did, and that
And they never
annoyed me, and
did.
so I never did put it. Yeah, I never did end up firing
And they
it up.
never did. Like when they came out with that one that one strike, uh, it was more like a raid. I forgot what the name of
Mhm.
it was, but it was the last add-on they added to that game before they called it quits. Because I was like, when they added that, I was like, oh yeah, now they about to get it started. They just gonna start with this raid. They're gonna come out with a couple of strikes, and they're just gonna keep it moving because a lot of people were like, hey, what's the next thing for Anthem? What's the next thing? Are they gonna improve this? Are they gonna improve that? And they were working on it, but they just stopped. They just stopped, and I was like, it sucks because I love playing the game.
Right. I'm trying to think of this one game too to see if it had a sequel. But I'm coming up with the wrong name. Uh Chris, what's the name of that one game that was on Xbox? I thought it was Castle Wars, but it's something else. The one game where you're playing as like knights and stuff, and at the beginning of the game, the dude's like throwing up the horns and banging his head.
Castle Crashers?
Castle Crashers, I think that's it. Did that have a sequel?
I don't think so.
That game, it was
And I
so
heard it was
good. I
good. I
never
never did
finished
play that
it,
one either.
but that game was good enough that it should have had one.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so I looked it up and like I said, I hadn't played the game in so long that I forgot
Hmm.
what all the classes was, but you had the Ranger, you had the Colossus, you had the Interceptor, and you had the Storm. And Ranger and the Interceptor were my favorite too. The Interceptor was fast, you get in and out of fights. The Ranger uh, was a perfect combination of speed and power, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just wanted to add that because I'm like, just looking at this right now, I'm like, man, I can't believe they stopped. Really can't.
Yeah, and the mechs looked good. I was like,
Yeah, I
man,
was
Oh
looking
my
at this. I was just
gosh!
yeah.
looking at
E
pictures.
e
Yeah,
exactly. Senior,
yeah,
100 times copy you on that one because
Mm.
the mechs look so good, man. They look so good.
yeah. I was just looking at it. Yeah, yeah. That actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Armored Core mixed with Mech Warrior, and wow, that's dope. Yeah, they really should have. They really should have gotten a sequel to that.
Mm.
I
Well, they
mean,
were supposed to. I mean, at least they could have fixed what they had, but it was
that's
like,
true.
but
Hmm.
Exactly.
EA's business models, they're gonna, yeah, kind of just hop off of it before they.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah.
Burns me up right
So
now.
it's Castle Crashers. What I looked up. Yeah, yeah. I
mm,
just looked it up, and they've never had an official sequel, but they've had downloadable content. They had a whole bunch of remasters. But they've played where you can actually play it on the 360, PS3, the One, and the Switch.
mm.
So they had a couple of different places to play Castle Crashers. That was a fun little game. Where you actually can start out doing different things. So, but that one was a really good one. That was not my pick, but I do want to find out, Chris, what's your pick of a game that you really, really wanted to have a sequel that just didn't get what its due deserve?
Mm. Well, I was about to say I'm just gonna go with Vanquish. And it was funny because there was a lot of people who had never even heard of that game, and I had to talk a lot of people into it. And I was telling them it was kind of, I was like, it's a Konami game. It's really fast paced. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It is definitely a challenge. And you're talking about some cool mech action, and it's like it was like playing an anime. Yeah, it never really took off like talking about it, but it was just excellent. I don't know if anybody has if y'all have actually played that one, but man, it's worth checking out. Even
Yeah,
today, it's worth checking out.
really. And when did it
Yeah,
come out?
2010.
I'm
Mm,
trying to look it up now.
What's the name? Vanquish.
yeah.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I'm looking that up and seeing if I can. Okay, I don't even think I've seen this before.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. I think y'all would like it. It's pretty action packed, and it's not even really that long. But
Mm-hmm.
the action in it, I mean, it is over the top. It's like, yeah, it's man. Matter of fact, apparently it was done by the same dude that did Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty dope.
Yeah, it looks tight. Tight
Matter
work.
of fact,
Word.
he had this the slide motion where where you can kind of just slide and gun all around the way. Yeah, it's dope. But like I said, it kind of flew under the radar though. It was really good, but never really got the kind of got the kind of attention it deserved. And like I
Mm.
said, it's from the maker of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from Capcom?
Mhm.
Well, that would
Ye
explain why it looks so good.
Yeah.
Why does it say Sega on the PS3 one though? Look like it's from Sega.
It
I'm just
prob
looking at
they
the
probably
cover.
they probably published it. So, I mean, yeah, so it probably was a Sega. I think it was a Sega produced game, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
it wasn't exclusive to a Sega system because it was
Well,
'cause
yeah,
I've got
and
it on
it's the
PlayStation and whatnot,
yeah.
and Xbox.
Well, the cover I was looking at that saw
So I got it
Sega,
on
it was for
Xbox.
the PS3.
Mhm.
So, but I thought you actually had another one that you chose though. Didn't you choose Stranglehold, or did that end up
Yeah,
with the sequel?
Stranglehold was also, yeah, like, yeah, one of the ones, but that was the John Woo Stranglehold, matter of fact, because and that one, it borrowed a lot of, like, the bullet time and stuff from The Matrix and, from the, Max Payne series and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was basically a sequel. It didn't get a sequel, but it was actually a sequel to a John Woo movie. Hard Boiled, it was the, matter of fact, the PlayStation 3 copy of the game came with a copy of the movie on the disc.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
But man, yeah, you play character, based on Chow Yun Fat, and you can do all these bullet time sliding downstairs and whatnot, and just all this
Mm-hmm.
acrobatic stuff where you can jump, land on your stomach on moving carts and whatnot, like food trays, and just slide across shooting. It was so over the top, but it was just fun.
Yeah, and it's so funny, Chris, that you mentioned Vanquish earlier.
Mhm.
On my list of games, Vanquish is on there above the game that I chose.
Mhm.
So they're both
Watch
in
Mojo?
2010. Huh?
Watch Mojo?
Watch Mojo. What do you mean?
Is that the site you're looking at
Oh no 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 no.
for the game?
I got Vox to do my research for me.
Oh, okay.
So, but there's quite a different few different ones that's on this list. Okame, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, Spec Ops, The Line,
Oh
Sunset
my god.
Overdrive.
Yeah, Spec Ops, I don't think really could use a sequel. I mean, it's one of those games that's kind of self-contained, and it
Hmm.
really is like it's basically you living kind of out the character from the Martin Sheen character from Apocalypse Now, and it's basically
Oh wow.
it's it's psychological warfare, and I mean it's one of those ones that the less you know about it going in, the better
Hmm.
because of the way it plays out, and it's one of those games that messes with you while you're playing it.
Oh okay.
So it really is, man. It's a wild experience.
Yeah.
It's almost like an anti shooter where it basically it really is a psychological examination of you as the player and the decisions you make and would make in a game because it forces you to just go through some really jacked up stuff. But it's good.
Off topic, a game that you saying this just reminded me, a game that really messed with me that I will never forget while I was playing with it is Metal Gear. Did
Yeah,
not expect that out of Metal Gear. Was it Metal Gear Solid, the one
yeah.
where with Psycho Pirate, not Psycho Pirate,
Mhm.
um uh
You,
uh
you,
Psycho Mantis or Praying Mantis or Mantis or whatever it is?
Psycho Mantis, yeah,
yeah,
Psycho Mantis.
yeah,
Yeah, man, you're trying to do that. Everything you're doing, that thing is actually reading your controller.
yeah. So you have
And
two
yeah,
I did
yeah.
not find out I did not
Bro.
find out about that trick until after I beat the game twice over. Like, there's that trick where if you wanna beat, Psycho Mantis without him knowing what moves you're doing, use the other controller.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
And he
I was
starts reading off of your
Yo,
memory card.
Mhm,
man, that is crazy. I've
Mhm.
only played the Twin Snake,
mhm.
so so Psycho Mantis is in the Twin Snakes, and well, he keeps saying, "I can read your mind."
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And just the different stuff that he was saying and doing, I'm just like, "Man, what?" That was a really mind freak right there, like,
yeah.
just the different stuff, and that they really mess with your mind, and there's a couple different games that are like that, or really mess with your mind. Maybe we actually need to go into do a show about that.
Yeah, Eternal
'Cause that
Darkness is one of them, and I've got that, matter of fact, over for the GameCube, and I've been I've been thinking about going back to that one recently because it's one of those it's matter of fact, the same team that did Eternal Darkness did, I think, the adaptation of Metal Gear Solid for the GameCube, which a little controversial because it added a little bit of like John Woo style slow motion and gun kind of fighting styles and stuff in it, but Yeah, but they did kind of redo the section in there with the psychological section. Matter of fact, they had the pictures on the wall laughing at you and all kinds of other stuff in there.
So that's pretty funny that you mentioned Eternal Darkness, because Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem is actually another game that's on the list that deserved the sequel and
Mhm.
didn't get one. So that's funny. And it's also funny you're talking about like with the pictures on the wall and stuff. Another Mind Freak game. Yeah, we definitely need to do an episode about games that are Mind Freak. Maybe that'll be our Halloween episode. But uh Resident Evil Village. The
Mhm.
Village.
Oh yes, yes,
That was a
bro.
mind freak right there. All the
Yes,
different
bro.
things in that. Like when you
Yeah,
go into that dollhouse too.
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh
That was
man.
crazy. That was
That
crazy on
was
another level.
wild. That was wild. And one of the freakiest and craziest things about that game is when you're inside the mansion and you everywhere you go, freaking Lady Dimitrescu was actually following you and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
different places, man. So you had to run and get away from her, man. You just see this big beast coming at you, and it's just like, man,
Remember the
those type
part
of
you grabbed for
games,
the
yeah.
door? Remember the part you grabbed for the door? And he tries to go through the door and she cuts his freaking hand off.
Oh, that was yeah. That was like right after the hook or right before the hook. I think it was
Yeah.
right before the
That
hook
was right before
before she
the
put you on hook.
I've
Yeah,
I've been trying to convince myself to go back and play Resident Evil 7 in VR, and I'm just like
Mm.
every time I get
yeah.
ready
Good
to, I
luck with
keep
that.
hearing, yeah, they're like it's even worse than VR. Matter of fact,
Good luck with
I've
that.
started on it, but yeah, every time I get inside the house, I back out of
Yeah, I was gonna say good luck with that because you ain't catching me in that. Not in
Mm.
VR. No, thank you. So, I do want to go ahead and go over the other couple in the list here, though. There's also Black. There's like that's the name of one of the games from 2006.
Oh,
Ooh,
man,
High octane first person shooter. Do y'all remember that one?
ooh, yes.
I've got that game
That's
over there.
on
Matter of
Game
fact, yeah,
Pass. That's
yeah,
on Game Pass.
yeah, and,
Mm.
man,
That's on Game Pass.
but I've had the worst of luck with that game. The last time I was really into that game, because it's basically the weapons are the star of that game, basically, and
Mhm.
so and they all handle differently, but the thing about it, it was programmed so that the weapons react kind of all differently with you and uniquely, like, and almost like the real world weapons would react. But,
Uh-huh.
man, it was like the last time I was really playing that, it was during a daggone storm, and every time I kept trying to play it, the power would go out.
Oh man. So do you think you would ever finish it?
I don't know, cause I was real off into it. I was pretty deep off into it where I left off, and from what I understand, I was pretty, but I'm not even sure if I've even still got, well, I probably still got this the problem, the game save files are probably still on the cloud somewhere, so I could probably just
Mhm.
throw it in the Xbox and mess around with it, cause
I
it
mean, you
was
could
for
always
the
start
original
fresh too.
Xbox.
You
Mhm.
could always start fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, because yeah, if it was on the original Xbox,
Mhm.
then your game save, even if it's in the cloud, your game saves are probably gone.
Yeah, and I think it's backward com but I think it's backward compatible, though.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I've still got the game save on my 360, so
Mm. Well, there's another one here that says Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning.
yeah.
I've never heard of that game.
Yeah, that was the
Um,
one that Kirk Schilling had put out, and apparently it was a really good game, but then it caught a little bit of controversy because of his political leanings and stuff, which yeah, and because of the way that he handled the actual production of the game, which apparently they got like a big tax write-off for it, and I
mhm.
don't think all the money went to where it was supposed to, but apparently they ended up going back and remastering, and the remaster is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But
So let me ask y'all, and forgive me for not remembering. Did either of y'all have Genesis?
yeah, still got one in the closet.
Yeah.
My cousin
Black.
had one.
Okay. So did either of y'all play Comic Zone?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was hard, but I liked it.
I
The
didn't
animation was
play it,
really
but
good.
I think, well, I think I might have played it on my PSP. But I don't remember playing it on the actual Genesis though. I've said this before, my PSP is modded, so I could play all kind of games on it. Yeah. But I think I remember playing that. And I do remember it was a very hard game.
Yeah.
and that makes me want to try to check it and see if I can play it recently, like now, just to see how it is. But that's another one that they actually said it was no sequel for that, but people still reference that game today to this
Mhm.
day. So,
That's that.
but let me
Yeah, yeah.
say
Go ahead.
what?
Go ahead, Slim. No, I was gonna say
Oh,
the only games I played on Genesis was their X-Men game and
hmm
Streets of Rage.
yeah, yeah. And Streets of Rage, I'm actually happy those got sequels. Streets
Yes.
of Rage, those were
Mhm.
actually really good, and they're putting them out, I guess, still today because I see Black every once in a while. I see them. Well, I haven't seen it in a while, but
Survival
he used
mode,
to.
baby.
He'll just go ahead and still just sign on, and he's right on Streets of Rage. You
Yeah,
know,
because
that's
beat 'em ups have disappeared, man.
that's 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 the
What happened to
little
beat 'em up?
yeah. And those are the
Future
fun
Topic.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
just
me and my brothers.
straight beat 'em ups, man. I
Yeah.
mean, those are really just fun games for when you're just
They
like frustrated. You just want a game where you're not trying to do too much. It's not too hard. Put on a beat 'em up. You
yeah,
know
they've been kinda making a comeback lately. There's been a few. It's been quite a few,
what's the name
recently.
of some of the ones that made a
Like,
comeback?
they got a
Yeah, I like to
Marvel one
know.
that looks great that they just showed last week, just put last weekend. I
Which
can't
one is
think of the
that one?
name of it, but man, it looks good.
Mm. And isn't Ultimate Alliance wasn't that a beat 'em up?
Yeah, pretty much. It was
Yeah,
kinda
Yeah.
yeah.
like,
Yes,
yeah,
sort of, but you had Seafood too.
yeah.
Seafood was is a beat 'em up, a very hard one, but
Mm.
I'm gonna start to play that one too.
I just
Seafood,
Okay.
got
that's a
Sifu,
kung
matter
fu
of fact,
jump.
yeah, they gave that away on Epic Games, and I ended up getting it on there, but I haven't fired it up yet. But I
Mhm.
have it installed.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but good things. Matter of fact, some of the mods that I saw for Seafood look good, man. They had like Matrix mods and where
Mhm.
they had switched out a lot of different characters from movies and video games and stuff. But even in Seafood, like there's like they did a lot of that as a tribute to kind of like Japanese sci-fi. I mean not sci-fi, like the the famous fighting scene that basically they bit for Daredevil and a few other TV shows and stuff. But
Mm.
there's a fight scene that was based on this fight scene from Old Boy where it's like it looks like one long fight that takes place in a corridor, and Sifu apparently recreates that entire fight or like a
Mhm.
version of that fight.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
I know what scene you're talking about too.
Mhm.
That was a really good movie. Jacked up movie, but a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
So, um, well, and here goes some of the hidden gems that they found that deserve sequels. I'm gonna rattle off some here. Singularity.
Mm.
Y'all, just let me know if y'all have tried any of these.
I,
Uh, El Shaddai, Ascension of of the Metatron,
mhm.
Shadow of Rome,
I have
Freedom
tried that one.
Fighters. You said what you've played Shadow of Rome?
Yeah, it was good. It was really repetitive, but it was pretty
It
fun.
was
It
for
was pretty good.
PS2.
Um, I want to say I don't think I played it on PS2 though.
Okay, well, this one it says it's an early Capcom from 2005, early Capcom gem for PS2.
Mhm.
Brutal gladiator combat mixed with stealth. So,
Slim.
yeah, what's up?
No, no, I would say you mentioned Rome, and that brought up a game,
Mhm.
that I always wanted, like, a sequel, maybe not from the Romans, but Rise Son of Rome that
Okay,
came out
Mhm.
and
with the original, the Xbox One. I
yeah, so
played
I
that
was
Oh,
that
wondering about.
game was on
I was about to
another
ask.
level, bro. I
yeah.
loved that game. I
I've
loved it.
never played it.
That was actually the game I was thinking about.
And that's what I was about to ask Chris if
Yeah,
he was thinking about that because
yeah,
I've never played that game. I've never played it, and I was wondering if that's what he thought was thinking, and yeah,
yeah,
sure
yeah.
enough.
Because I
But
had
how
when I
have
was yeah,
have y'all both played Rise?
yeah, yeah, Rise
Yeah,
was good.
I played Rise and beat Rise. I beat Rise, and I was
yeah,
like, I don't want another Rise with Rome. I want a Rise with, like, barbarian hordes, or a Rise like where, like
Mhm.
Conan the Barbarian or something. That's the
Did you
right,
type of
try the
Rise
right.
I
Con
want.
Vikings or something,
Yeah, did
right?
you try the
Yeah,
Conan
yeah.
game? It actually wasn't bad. Only it had a the only thing I didn't like about the Conan game was it had the same structure every level where you kinda basically had to, like, fight the boss, like, 2 or 3 times over just because the way they padded the game out, and I was like, "Yeah, can we just get this fight over with?" But yeah, it was other than that, though, it was pretty good.
Yeah. I definitely have been meaning to play that long time ago, of course, because it did, like you said, that was one that they pushed with the original Xbox One, and they
Mhm,
pushed it hard. And I really meant to. I've been meaning to download that game. It's still, a matter of fact, I think I had it in one of the games where I downloaded because they were giving it to you for free with Xbox. So I
mhm.
think I actually technically own that game in quotation marks because you don't really own it, of course. But I think I have it where I can download it if I really wanted to because I made sure I set it to where it's in my library so I could download it if I wanted to again. But
Matter
I
of fact,
definitely want to try that game. I
I
really
think
do.
I've still got it on my Xbox One, if I'm not
Mhm,
mistaken.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Another one, here we go, Bulletstorm.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
Bulletstorm.
and they re-released Bulletstorm in VR recently, but from it didn't go well at first, and they ended up having to patch the daylights out of it. But
Mhm,
I loved the game originally, but I did not want to play it again in VR because I was like, I played it so much when it first came out, but
mhm.
yeah, it was one of those ones. It was and it kind of set up almost for a sequel, but it just that never happened. 'Cause it did set up for a sequel, but it never happened. But I don't think it
Yeah.
ever did. It definitely. Matter of fact, I don't even think that the company that did the VR remake is even in business now. I think
Yeah,
they went out of business.
and I know the name. I can't remember. It's not coming to my mind, but it came out in 2011, and it says it's an overtop FPS with skill shot system. Um, so I guess it's one of those ones where it's like you can do special shots, kind of like I think what like Bayonetta, not Bayonetta. Is it
Oh,
Bayonetta that do special shots or whatever? Like when you shoot and you get points for doing special shots or something. I don't remember, but
imagine Gears of War, but really over the top and really, really corny.
mhm.
But
Yeah, so
and
that's
where
what I
like
say.
you
Yeah,
could,
I remember it
yeah.
vaguely, but
I
I can't
think you've
remember.
played it. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think if you see it, I think you'll remember it.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let me
Because
just Google it really quick.
yeah, because
Keep going.
I think you've played because if I'm not mistaken, I know I've played it with my brother, if I'm not mistaken, because I think me and Mike played it. But yeah, it was pretty it was a pretty wild game, but it was fun.
Mhm.
But I
No,
was
yeah,
think kind of
I
like when
didn't
I
play
was
it.
yeah.
I'm looking at the some of the images. I don't remember playing it, so
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
played through
Yeah.
it about 2 or 3 times, and it was like it was pretty fun, but it was like once you've kinda done it a few times,
Mhm.
you've done it.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, rolling off to the last ones, these last couple ones, and then I'm gonna jump into the games that I chose. Um, Call of Juarez, Gunslinger, Split Second, and then Binary Domain. Those are all other like hidden gems
Yeah, I did
that
play
deserve
Call of
sequels.
Juarez. Call of Juarez actually, if I'm not mistaken, went on to be Red Dead.
Oh,
If
okay.
or there were no, or there was an original, or it was done by it had some kind of I wanna say it had some kind of relationship with Rockstar or something along those lines, or it might just have been a cowboy game that came out during that time, but
Hmm.
yeah, I did play that one a little bit, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
Yeah. So
one of those
and
ended up becoming Red
you
Dead.
saying that just reminded me. I'm like, I think I have heard it's connected to that somehow,
Mm,
not just being the whole Western aspect of it, but I think it is. I think that was like the baseline or something for Red Dead or something.
mm.
So I remember something. So all right. So let me go ahead and jump into the game that I chose. I chose Dante's Inferno. Have y'all played that one?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Never
I've
played it.
said this before, and I'm gonna say it again now. I almost want to say I put it down. It had to have been over a year,
Mm.
but I remember when I first started playing it, I got to this one spot and I died like 15, 16, probably even more than 20 times.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the spot was. It might have been the judge.
Was it when they
Uh,
were going up the elevator and you had to do, like, the rings of hell and you had to
I don't remember for sure. I feel like it
mm,
was the judge, but it might have been something else. It might have been like Mark Anthony, maybe. I
mhm,
don't know. But there was one, and I keep feeling like it's the judge just because of the whole spinning blade thing, a part of it or whatever. I'm not
mhm.
sure. But I just remember I just kept getting stuck, and I've died so many times that I was just like, yeah, no, I gotta put this down. And I left it alone for the longest time. Every time I looked over at my shelf and I saw it, I'm like, not today, not today. Then I almost want to say it had to have been more than that because I don't think I beat it until COVID.
Mhm,
I'm if I'm wrong, it might have been something else. It might have been I just know that I had nothing going on when I decided to pick it back up. And I had nothing going on, and I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it." And I did it, and I got back on it, and it in a snap, I beat it, and I was like, "I don't understand how it took so long for me to beat it." So for those who haven't played it, Dante's Inferno, it was developed by Visceral Games, and it was, for the lack of a better term, it was basically like a God of War style hack and slash game that was basically, it was loosely based off of um Dante Alighieri's Inferno. It's the very first part of the Divine Comedy. And so you play as Dante, and you descend into the nine circles of hell to rescue your wife, because your wife made a deal with the devil that you would be faithful. But while you because and you play, you the character you play is part of the Crusades. And so of course, like, there all of this different stuff here and there. They basically say, it's has a little bit of a lot of religious aspects in it. But you play through all the different sins. You see your past. You see, you're guided by a spirit. I think his name, is it Virgil?
Yeah, I
Virgil's
think.
just your guiding spirit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that game is so detailed and is so good, and those demons are scary as hell. You got these little babies that run around with knives and they're screaming and stuff like that, and it's so much. Black, did you play it too, right? You remember that?
No, I've
No, you
never
never
played
played
it.
it?
I
Oh
actually saw it,
man.
and I was like, I gotta get into that. I gotta get into that game because it's got like a Devil May Cry vibe to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, dude, man, I'm telling you, that game, they really, not only do they need a sequel, they need to do a remake of that game, because for the new systems, for what we have now, they could do so much, and it would look so good in 4K. I swear. I mean, it would. They just and the different circles of hell that you descend into all have were so vibrant, and they were so weird. It was like like picture going into the hive in Gears of War,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
the going into the hives of Gears of War, but that's everywhere.
Bro, wait till you
Like,
start playing Doom.
yeah.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. See, I was like, yeah, man.
Hmm.
Once Slim, man, when he started playing Doom
Yeah.
Eternal,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
and
think
then
you'll.
Doom the Dark Knight, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then that actually makes more sense, because yeah, Doom you're playing in hell too, right?
Ooh, boy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not all
So
set in hell, but when you do, yeah, it's right along those lines. You'll
Mhm.
see.
yeah. So basically, yeah, the same concept, like you're playing in hell, and just the different creatures and the level designs, and all the different versions of sin that you go through. It's like just crazy. It is so crazy, um the combat, he's got his giant sickle, and it's the way he's just swinging and just chopping things down, and the movements. Like I said, it's if you've ever played a God of War, if you haven't played a God of War, there's got to be another game that I can equate that to. But if you ever played a God of War, it's so close to God of War that it's not funny, but it's so dope.
Doom
So,
Eternal is like that, but in first person. I really think you're gonna like it, including the weapon system.
oh, okay. Can
Yeah.
you change it to third person?
No.
Oh, okay. See, yeah. So I've pretty much, I limit my first person shooter games just because of vertigo and stuff like that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I don't want to say vertigo, but it's like I get like headaches and stuff like that when I play them too long. So I
Okay.
limit, and I think that's another reason why I haven't rushed back to play Call of Duty with my siblings,
Mhm.
and my nieces and my nephews. However, I know you can with Call of Duty go into third person as well,
Mhm.
but it's better played in first person. But um yeah, I definitely will try Doom. I promise. I just don't know when. It'll probably be like maybe during the holidays or something like that. Or I mean, it's the summer, so I get Fridays where I can actually play some game time. So we'll see. But did you know that there was supposed to be a sequel uh based off of the game? It was supposed to be a trilogy.
Yeah, I think from what I understood, they were supposed to be. Yeah, they were going to start a franchise off that, but it didn't tell us what
Purgatorio
they
and
wanted to.
Parasidio.
Mhm.
So I'm just from the names, it sounds like the second game would have been based off of Purgatory even more,
Mhm.
and then the third game would have been based off of Paradise. I guess
Mhm.
I'm just guessing here.
because even the movie, they had a big marketing campaign for that when it first came out. Matter of fact, there
Mhm.
was some controversial stuff that they did as far as the marketing campaign went, and people, had a little bit of was behind it, but it was,
Of
but
course.
yeah, once again, it was, one of them situations where the end result wasn't quite as bad as they made it out to be, but it was still. But yeah, that was one of those ones that I finished it on the PSP, but
Mhm.
I didn't finish the console version because I had the same issue with like I did with Conan, where I got tired of, like, matter of fact, it was running through a gauntlet where you had to do like each enemy like 3 times, fight
Mhm.
each enemy 3 times, and after like the 6th or 7th time, and I was like, yeah, I'm done, and
Yeah.
I never went
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah. Well, this one, it was all they were shelved. All the
Mm.
sequels were shelved, and the developer Visceral Games went out of business in 2017. So, could it get a sequel? It's possible if somebody
Oh,
else picks up the game.
also, wasn't that another deal that they had with EA? Weren't
I'm
they
not
being published
sure.
under EA? I think it was the game developer was one thing, but I think they were I think that game was being distributed by EA. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, that explains that.
Yeah. Well, part of the
Yeah,
reason why
yeah.
they never got those sequels too,
EA again.
the part of the yeah,
Mhm.
right. EA again. I can't wait to hear that rant that you go on like that for real. That needs to be that's probably your first episode is that rant about EA or
Yeah,
just
I think it
developers in
will be.
general.
I think it will be. I was only gonna
Yep,
drink
it
one
was
beer.
um,
published.
Now, I've had 2 because of EA.
Yep, it was published by EA.
yeah. So yeah, there you go. EA. Yeah.
See,
EA
see,
shelved the
see.
sequels. There you go.
Mhm,
Mhm. Sorry for the ice in my cup here, y'all, if y'all can
mhm.
hear that. So yeah, I like now you saying it, I just scroll down and I see EA shelved the sequels and Visceral Games closed. So that's why. But part of the reason why it didn't do as well as it did, because it came out the same time as God of War 3.
Oh,
Ooh,
So
which end?
God of War 3 stole its thunder.
yeah,
Excuse me.
That makes sense.
that'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. God of War 3 stole its thunder. So I mean, what could you do? You're going up against God of War, which,
Yeah, and I
it's
finished that
yeah.
one.
I mean,
So
Yeah.
EA should have
that
been.
tells you a
They
lot.
should have been smart about that though, because it's like,
Mhm.
oh well, God of War. Why would you release your game right around God of War 3? Like, why would you do that? You know how many developers have ducked, Gears of War. I'm sorry, Grand Theft Auto 6. They're actually
Mhm.
watching when they drop that game so they could just wait. You know,
Yeah.
Somebody is
like
Yeah.
actually planning on putting
they don't
that
need
game on the
some games
same
are just
day
too
on
good. You can't.
purpose just to, yeah, just for, I forget which game it was, but yeah, somebody's actually putting their game out the same day as GTA 6 on
Why?
purpose.
Why?
Just, I
I
mean, for
mean,
the publicity
Why,
and for the
bro?
hell of it. It was something that was
as
funny.
much as I'm annoyed, and I don't want to say hate, but as much as I'm annoyed and really am pissed off and don't want to play that game, there's a very high likely chance that I will play the game still.
Mhm.
And uh, for anyone who's trying to put games out the same day, it's basically like if you're trying to put an album out the same day Taylor Swift or Beyonce puts an album out. I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
because that game has such a cult following and it's been like so anticipated. Why would you try to do that the same day?
'Cause they,
Seriously.
like I said,
That's
they're
like
hopping
putting a
on
game
the
out when
they're getting more publicity. Yeah, but
that's like putting a game out on when Call of Duty releases a new sequel or a new version of that game or something like that.
Call of
Black Ops
Duty,
7, I think is
Madden.
coming.
mhm.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, any one of those big games, it
Hmm.
it just don't make no sense to put your game out when those things drop because ain't nobody paying attention to nothing else but that.
None whatsoever. No sense. I'm like, man, why? Why would you try that? It's so crazy. Anyway. Well, that's what we got for the different games that we chose and like we like, if you got any games that you really love that doesn't have a sequel, definitely double check too, by the way. Because again, like I said, I thought Army of Two didn't have a sequel, but it ended up having two. So check it out, see
Army
if
of Two
you
was
if you is,
was
but if you do
tight,
have a game that you
tight work.
yeah, I love that game, and that's why I said I don't know why I don't remember it getting the sequel, the 40th Day sequel. I don't remember why. Maybe just because I didn't play it, but
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. If you got a game that you want, hit us up. You can actually email us at toldmywifepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at toldmywifepodcast. You can follow us on Facebook. I told my wife I'm paying bills. You can subscribe to our YouTube page at I told my wife I'm paying bills podcast. You can find me on TikTok at SlimTour78. Um, hit us up, let us know. You could hashtag us, told my wife podcast, in any of your social media posts, anything, just give us a shout, let us know. So Black, you got anything left before we go?
Just we appreciate those who listen. Hopefully, the word spreads a bit more, and we get a little bit more notice. Like Slim said, we will be going to we will be streaming, actual streaming. Just appreciate the support. Continue to lock in. We enjoy doing this, and we'll keep doing it.
Word, for sure, for sure. So Chris, you got anything you want to say?
No, because if I do, I'm gonna bring up more topics, and we're just gonna keep going. Which being
Well,
as much as I enjoy this, yeah, I will keep going. So
yeah, well, write them down or put them in the show notes for the topics. Put them in the show notes. There you go. So, all right, that's cool. That's cool. Well, uh, until then, I'm Slim,
And I'm Black.
and I'm Chris.
He's not gonna say anything
and
else.
whether there you go, there you go, and whether you're binging or button mashing, we'll catch you in the next episode. Y'all have a good one.